As Britain prepares for today's coronation, it's been noted in the papers that a giant, or some might say the king of English football, retired 10 years ago this month. I love, actually, how the Daily Mail start this piece. And this is a piece written by Chris Wheeler and Simon Jones. They say Britain is all set for a coronation, but 10 years ago this weekend, the country was gripped by talk of an abdication. And that abdication, if you like, was, of course, Sir Alex Ferguson, who decided to step down as the Manchester United manager on the 8th of May 2013. I know you saw this, Cass, and thought it's well worthy of a mention. And just in general, I suppose, to kind of have a scouting report of Man United since. What do you... I mean, look, it was always going to be a challenge for whoever came in to take over from Sir Alex Ferguson. And it seemed as though his successor, as he had chosen, was David Moyes after the great work that he had done at Everton. That didn't work out. And really, ever since, no one has worked out. Now, there's been some trophy success in this team under Jose Mourinho, but it's always felt that they still haven't quite connected, these managers. Even with the Jose Mourinho success, it just didn't quite work. So how do we assess United 10 years on?
Well, it's been a long decade for the club, trying to find a way. You know, it's been, how do you emulate 13 titles in the Premier League, 38 trophies? So Alex Ferguson's job was mainly highs, but there were a few lows. Champions League win, one of the most extraordinary turnarounds in a game. And look, Liverpool had an extraordinary one against AC Milan. It was, 3-0 down, but their turnaround in the final minutes of the game. Look, how do you replace such an outstanding manager that achieved so much and changed the face of football for a period of time in this country? And everybody, Liverpool were the kings of the 80s, the late 70s and 80s. Time it got to the 90s, it was Fergie, and that lasted until well into the 2000s. And Liverpool then played chase to Man United and other clubs. Chelsea came along, Arsenal joined the party, even Leicester. It's been extraordinary. I remember looking at Bayern Munich a period of time when they had Jurgen Klinsmann and they had him as a manager, and then he left, and they then had a turnover of managers quite quickly. It's really hard to find someone that ticks every box of what your club needs. And United have been faced with that challenge for a long time.
Do you think Erik ten Hag ticks the boxes then?
I think he's shown a lot of signs of what he knows is wrong, but they're still a way off, as in where Man City are. It's going to take hell of a recruitment this summer. Can they get closer to Man City? What Arsenal are going to be like next year? Liverpool, if they can reinvent themselves slightly and become a side that can challenge again, it's a big ask. What will Chelsea be next year? I mean, look at Chelsea. I mean, what will they be as a team? I just don't know, because there's so much upheaval there. But it's been a difficult 10 years. And sometimes you just have to admire the person that was at the helm. And he was an extraordinary man in many, many ways. I was lucky enough to meet him on a couple of occasions, but one time in Marseille was pretty special.
Go on, tell us then.
Well, he came. He managed a Marseille 11. There was a goalkeeper called Pascal Almita who had a testimonial, and he had Marseille's legends, and I played in that team against the Marseille current team. And he managed the legends.
So hang on, what was the connection for Sir Alex Ferguson?
Barthez asked him.
Right, gotcha.
Barthez was a friend of the goalkeeper,
right?
Almita. They were good pals, and he asked Sir Alex Ferguson if he would come and manage the team. So when I didn't know, I turned up on the day, and the forward line was Zidane, Cantona, and me. And I remember thinking, really? Wow. So I'm laughing, thinking and Fergie turned up. And on that meeting that day, Fergie asked me to have a word with Zidane about whether he was interested in going to Man United. That was really funny.
And did you? Did you say?
Yeah. But Zidane, he doesn't say many words, just went, no.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No real discussion there? You just knew that's a no.
No. He doesn't. He was very quiet in the dressing room. He reminded me in some ways of the way Paul Maguire, you wouldn't even know he was in the dressing room. Great player, but never... really spoke too much to anybody. But yeah, Fergie asked me.
What was Sir Alex like then?
He was in great mood, and I think he'd had a couple of drinks, and he'd been invited down to there.
It's a light-hearted
game,
it's
it's a testimonial for a goalkeeper, and he came down. He had his bodyguard with him, and had a little bit of a chat with him, and enjoyed his company, and Just he was good fun. And I mean, I'm sure it wasn't the Alex Ferguson that was in the Man United dressing room, but he come down, enjoyed it. But I think to this day, and I don't know, again, I can't prove it, I think to this day, the reason he accepted, because he thought, I can try to have a word with Zidane to see.
Gotcha. Get close to him.
I think, because why would he ask me that question when I'm in the dressing room?
You
know, see if he's interested in coming to Man United.
It's interesting, isn't it? But 10 years on then from when he decided to call time on his managerial career. I mean, you also have to consider the length of time that he was at Manchester United, Cass, when he had that great rivalry with Arsene Wenger as well. We're probably not going to see that kind of managerial length at one club ever again, are we? It's just not. That's not something we're going to see, is it? It's
very hard to when you look at managers getting sacked willy-nilly every now and again. You're just the new ones on the chopping block. And he had a way about him that, he was, I would say, look, you have to have a bit of good fortune in anything you do in life. But to have the 92 kids come through and him be at the helm and wanting to allow that development of the 92 team, the young lads that come into the side, was, you've got to have that fortune as well. Now, haven't you? Things have to go for you. You can make your great transfers. You can have great players come to the club. But then to be blessed with 4 or 5 top youngsters, that's a blessing.
Do you know who is the longest-serving manager? And I'm talking not just Premier League. I'm talking
EFL.
Right now, current longest-serving. It's a difficult one. I don't necessarily think you'd get it because we're going to League 2. Put it that way.
Oh right. Oh, we're going down all the way down there. Oh.
Well, what do you think the longest spell is?
I would have said about 12 years now.
Well, not far off. 13 years. The Harrogate Town manager, Simon Weaver.
I was going to say John Coleman.
Well, he's been at Accrington for 8 years.
I was going to say, I knew it was long, but he's had 2 stints, hasn't he?
He's had a couple of stints, indeed.
That's why I'm probably getting confused. I'd have probably gone for John Coleman at Accrington, but yeah. So who was it again? Sorry?
Simon Weaver.
Simon Weaver.
Which I think his father owns the club. I might be wrong. Forgive me. Forgive me.
Nepotism's Andy.
I might be wrong, so maybe don't count me on that one. But Jurgen Klopp is the longest-serving Premier League manager. It's 7 years that he's been in charge at Anfield, closely followed by Pep Guardiola. And who's the next one on the Premier League list?
Thomas.
Get old Thomas. You can't be a bit of Thomas Frank.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.